Hello. Okay, at first I want to tell you that I was not well tomorrow, so I can't join the live session. So let's talk about you. How are you? So give me 5 minutes so that I can connect all of you. Okay, I'm trying to start the conversation with you and reading with you. Now let me drink some water. So tell me what is your name and where are you from? And so now I am sharing my screen. I think all of you can see my screen. Okay. So today I will reading the Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, Jnana Yoga, the yoga of knowledge. Gyan Yoga, the yoga of knowledge. So let's start. According to the above statement of Sri Krishna, the Bhagavad Gita is a very ancient text. Krishna says that previously he had spoken this knowledge of yoga to Vibhishana, the predominating deity of the sun planet, and in turn, Vibhishana passed on this knowledge to other universal leaders and great kings. This flow of knowledge from one to another is called parampara or dis- disciplic succession. But in time, the knowledge of yoga was lost, and therefore Krishna was again speaking Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. The qualification to properly understand Bhagavad Gita are stated here. One should be a devotee of Krishna and one should understand that Krishna is Shuhardam Sarva Bhutanam, the friend of all living beings. In the Bhakti Yoga, one does not fear God because Krishna is not a worthful God. Krishna is our dear mother and po- our ever well wisher. Krishna is the highest subject of love, adoration, and affection. Krishna also has deep feeling of love for his devotees. From these verses, we can also understand that the knowledge of yoga is not simply meant for studio lesson. The knowledge of yoga is actually the most important branch of knowledge in the world, and as such, it should be the studies by every discerning person from the heads of government to the individual citizen. Everyone should have the opportunity to study and practice yoga, by which one easily approaches the perfection of life. The question naturally arises in Arjuna's mind that how could Krishna have spoken Bhagavad Gita to Vibhishana when Vibhishana appeared in the universe of years ago and Krishna only appeared recently? To understand Sri Krishna's appearance and activities is indeed to become situated beyond the cycle of birth and death. In material life, all living beings are in a perpetual state of transmigration from one birth to the next. Only when one attains pure spiritual consciousness does samsara or transmigration ceases. Krishna tells Arjuna that both of them have passed through many paths that Arjuna has forgotten, but Krishna remembers them all because the living being change bodies at the time of death. They also forget their previous life. Krishna is the absolute truth and thus he doesn't change his body or transmit to another body at any time. Because he does not undergo a change of body, he does not forget. Krishna is not different from his body, whereas living beings in the material life are units of consciousness that are embodied by material elements. The body of all living beings in the material world are made of the basic elements of earth, water, fire, air, space, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Krishna is a Sakshit Ananda, eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Krishna's body is also a Sakshit Ananda. Thus, Krishna and Krishna's body are not different. They are transcendental spiritual substances. Sri Krishna not only remembers all his previous births, but he remembers all of Arjun's previous births also. This is the characteristics of the absolute truth who is fully omniscient. The knowledge of yoga being lost naturally results in a decline in dharma and a rise of adharma, false dharma. Malviolence arises out of dharma. When this occurs, Krishna says that he appears in the world to re-establish the principles of dharma. Dharma is understood as duties, activities, and practices that will sustain the living being in a state of prosperity and enable them to realize their constitutional position as continuous part and parcels of the absolute truth, Krishna. As such, dharma should not be confused with the mundane region of the world. In verse 8, Krishna says that he appears in every age, yoga, yog, to establish the yoga dharma. In Shuddha Yoga, Krishna appeared as Hamsa, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, and Narasimha avatars. In Treta Yuga, he appeared as Vamana, Parashurama, and Ramachandra avatars. In Dwapar Yuga, he appears as Sri Krishna, and in Kali Yuga, he has appeared as Buddha and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is one more avatar yet to appear at the end of Kali Yuga, some 4 to 7 triple 0 years from now, and that is Kalki. When Krishna was speaking Bhagavad Gita, it was at the end of Dwapar Yuga, an age of considerable piety when open degradation as establishment for the consumption of alcohol, illicit sex, political corruption, drug abuse, and the organized slaughter of animals were completely unheard of. Now, 5,000 years on, we are in the midst of the age known as Kali Yuga, where the unheard of vices in the Dwapar Yuga are the norm of the day. Similarly, as Krishna had appeared at the end of Dwapar Yuga, he again appeared after the first four, 5, 6 years of Kali Yuga has passed as the Avatara Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also known as the Kali Yuga Avatara or the Yogavatara. As the Yoga Avatara, Krishna taught the dharma of Nama Nam Sankirtana, the chanting of the Maha Mantra, not only the most important process of self realization, but as the only recommended process of self realization in Kali Yuga. Conclusively, the Brahman Naradiya Puran. In the age of Koli, there is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way except for the chanting of the name of Krishna. When the Mahamantra is chanted con- congregationally in a loud tone, it is called Kirtana or Samkirtana. When the Mahamantra is chanted softly and the repetition is counted on a string of 1008 beats, it is called Japa. Since the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Sankirtana movement, many great and learned scholars, philosophers, and yogis such as Sarva Bhav Sarva Bhav Bhattacharya and Prakash Sananand Sarava Saravate have put aside the systems of yoga, Vedanta, and philosophy in favor of becoming fully absorbed in the chanting of the holy name of Krishna according to great self-realized personalities. The chant of the Mahamantra is surest birth to spiritual perfection in the age in this age. Srimad Bhagavad states as follows. I can't I can't speak those Sanskrit from properly. So I am reading the English explanation. And I also want to say that I have some problems. So if it is wrong, please help me to correct it because I am new and I am trying to learn a lot of things. So thank you. Although Kali is an ocean of faults where people are short-lived, slow and always disturbed, still there is one great quality about this age. Simply by chanting the name of Krishna, one can be delivered from the material bondage and attain the supreme destination. Whatever results were gained in Shatya Yuga by meditation upon Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing elaborate sacrifices, and in Dwapar Yuga by deity worship, can be obtained in the Kali Yuga simply by chanting the name of Krishna. The chanting of the Mahamantra advances one in self-realization because it pures the heart of material influences and eliminates the false concepts of life, thus terminating the cycle of death and a cycle of birth and death. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has composed a verse where the benefit of Sankirtana, chanting the Mahamantra, have been described as follows. This is it. The holy name of Krishna cleanses the mirror of the heart and extinguishes the fire of misery in the forest of birth and death, just as the evening lotus blooms in the moon's cooling rays. The heart begins to bloom in the nectar of Krishna's name, and at least the Atma awakens to its real inner treasure, a life of love with Krishna, again and again tasting nectar. The Atma dives and surfaces in the ever increasing ocean of ecstatic joy, all phases of the self of which we may conceive are fully satisfied and purified, and at last conquered by the all auspicious influence of the holy name of Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught the chanting of the Mahamantra and a complete system of philosophy known as Achaitanya Ve- mm, Veda Veda A- Achinta Achintaya Veda Veda Tava Tattva that has encompassed all the great philosophical system of India that preceded him, such as Adi Shankara's Ad- Advaita, Vishnu Swami's Sudhavatya, Nimbarkan's Devaitanvedam, Ramanujan's Vivishta Devyati, and Mahadev's Devaita. Devaita. The Achaitanya Veda Veda philosophy is essentially the philosophy of simultaneous on oneness and difference in the absolute truth, cumulating the prema bhakti or divine love. As such, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has revealed the greatest philosophy of spiritual perfection in this world to accompany the chanting of the Mahamantra, the process of deity worship that was prominent in Drapo Judaism is still in vogue today. The deity is the Arka Vi- Vigra. The deity is the Arka Vigraho, representation of Sri Krishna that is manifest before the aspirant so that one can perform worship archana and fix the mind and senses on the form of the Supreme Person. When the authorized Arka Vigraho is present, such worship should not be confused with the worship of lifeless and unauthorized idols. Current in the communities of Bhakti Yoga are the worship of the Arka Vigrahos of Sri Krishna, such as Jagannatha, पंचतत्व गौर निताय गौर गदाधर धारा Sri Narasimha and Sri Radha Krishna. In the verse that Sri Krishna alludes to the topmost stage of self-realization by the use of the word bhava. Bhava is the state of deep affection just before one reaches the stage of purest love, prema. Rupa Goswami, the foremost disciple of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, explained this in the great details in his book Bhakti Rasamrita Sudha. The development of transcendental love begins with Shraddha or faith. Shraddha leads one to associate with spiritually advanced person. Sadhu Sangha. In the association of sadhus, one receives siksha or instruction or how to approach the absolute truth, and gradually one is initiated into this process. This is called bhajana kirtana. When the heart is cleared of contamination, one reaches the stage of being pure heart. Ananto Nivritti. By the cultivation of spiritual practices after achieving Ananto Nivritti, one becomes steady, Nishtha, and achieves the state of Ruchi when one begins to taste the pure sweetness of realization and the absolute truth. This ruchi develops further to become ashokti or get attachment for the absolute. Great attachment for the absolute gradually manifests as great feelings of affection for Sri Krishna. This is called bhava, and the mature stage of those feelings of affection are known as prema or the sentiments of transcendental love for Krishna. It is interesting to note that Krishna hints at this ultimate perfection early on the Bhagavad Gita, not too overtly but slightly covertly, for love after all is the greatest of all secrets. In subsequent verses, Krishna continues to encourage Arjuna not to adopt the path of inaction. Krishna assures Arjuna that he is transcendental to all type of karma and that those who take refuge in him also become liberated from the reaction of material activities. Krishna wants Arjuna to follow the example of previously liberated person to follow in their footsteps. Mahajano Yog Gatha Shapantaha. In ancient time, there were many great personalities known as Mahajanas, and they all achieved liberation from birth and death by taking shelter of Krishna. Krishna wants Arjuna to follow these Mahajanas. Sri Krishna is awarding all living beings accordingly as they approach him. Knowingly or unknowingly, everyone is searching for Krishna. Krishna is the reservoir of pleasure and primeval cause of everything. In Brahma Samhita, Sri Krishna is described as Sarva Karana Karanam, Sarvakarana Karanam, the cause of all cause. Krishna is also known as Govinda, or one who gives pleasure to the senses. But due to being under the illusion bodily consciousness, the living beings are not aware of what is actually in the best interest. Therefore, they do not approach Krishna directly. Instead of bewildered living beings worship demigods for the fulfillment of their desire, or as in the modern society they simply work hard to earn money and purchase whatever they want in the material existence. The living beings are wandering throughout the universe in different species of life, experiencing happiness and distresses according to their knowledge. Out of the millions of wandering living beings, one who is most fortunate gains an opportunity to associate it with liberated post Guru by the grace of Krishna, by the mercy of Krishna and the Guru. Such a person receive the seed of the paper of Bhakti Chaitanya Charitamrita. The world is old, much older than many of us realize, and many things have changed over the ages. Yet, the basic principles of spiritual advancement and putting an end to the problem of birth, death, old age, and disease remain the same. The advancement of modern civilization has actually done very little to solve the real problem of life. We are giving so-called higher education and better standards of living, yet the basic problem remains birth, death, old age, and disease. Now the real solution is at hand, and Sri Krishna wants Arjuna to accept it to facilitate social harmony efficiently and advancement in spiritual life. Krishna has created the four social order in society, who varnas according to one's sukriti or spiritual merits derived from previous lifetime. One come to the human from form of life with certain innate qualities. This is natural system of order to the universe, and it is perceivable in all civilized society. These human tendencies are grouped in four basic classifications: the intellectual, material, mercantile, and laborer class. The Vedic term for these are Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishya, and Shudras. According to Sri Krishna, these varnas are determined by one's quality and action, guna karma, and not simply by birth. One may be born in the family where men but show extraordinary intellectual powers and so forth. As such, one to be heartfully welcomed into the intellectual community. Similarly, one may be born to the wealthy and mercantile family but show great promise as a military leader. This one is encouraged to follow that line of work when one performs the work best. strive to him according to his qualities and devotees that work to please the Supreme Person Krishna, then such a person achieves the high perfection. It is concluded as follows. It is concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging one occupational duties according to Varna and Ashrama orders of life. Ah, yes, Krishna. Unfortunately, in the modern times, when person have unfortunately, in modern times, some persons have given a wrong interpretation to eligibility of the Varnas by placing all emphasis on one's birth in particular family. This has been invented to create a sense of social superiority when elite members of Vedic society who are born as Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are given special privilege with others who are born as Vaishya and Shudras are not. This system has been created once in India for more than 1000 years and is known as the caste system. The caste system, however, is special misrepresentation of the system of manuscript creation. Sorry guys, I just cannot feel the right to. I want to stop my life.